Memories of My Father tells the story of doctor and human rights activist Héctor Abad Gómez. Could you speak on bringing a real-life hero rather than a superhero to the screen?
Yeah, I read the book his son wrote 20 years after he was killed. And it was one of my most moving experiences as a reader ever. I was really touched by this book, very moved. But it didn't cross my mind to make a movie about it. It was some years later that the author of the book, Héctor Abad, and his producer approached me and offered me to do the movie. And I was scared because the book is so good that it's very scary to try to make a movie from a book with a classic already.
Your films investigate the politics of various countries and eras as they impact people. What draws you to investigate politics in your films?
You know, I never wanted to investigate politics in my movies. I'm a storyteller. I want to tell good stories with characters. But sometimes they are real stories or fiction stories, doesn't matter. It's always important to have an interesting background for your stories and your characters be alive in them. So this story already came with the background of the one of the worst period in Colombian history, with the end of the 80s. No, it was a moment of an incredible violence. Everywhere, social violence, political violence, drug violence, and everything was mixed up. It was really a great mess in every level.
What drew you to tell this story from Colombia? What has been your relationship with the country and its culture? Did it develop more while shooting this film?
Every time I came to Colombia before making this movie, for other reasons, mostly for film festivals or showing my movies, or universities and theaters, festivals, etc., I was very shocked to discover at what point Colombians were marvelous people with a love for literature, for poetry, cinema, art, even bigger than in Europe or in the United States. I love talking about these subjects, and I found there amazing people to do it. You know? So all we heard about Colombia is always drugs and things and political problems and that and deaths and things. So, but this is an art and cultural and very strong cultural country, Colombia. So it was an amazing experience working there, to the point that in my new movie that I just finished in Greece, I brought some of my director of photography, my production designer, one of the actors of Memories of My Father, Juan Pablo Rego, who is for me one of the best actors in the world. And I feel like I'm closer to that country than I ever was about making this movie. Too many friends there. I left too many friends in Colombia, real ones.
This is a very personally told, family-oriented film. Could you speak on capturing the everyday family moments?
That was very important for me in the movie. I belong to a family, a Spanish family in Madrid. We were 8 brothers, 1 girl and 7 boys, and just the opposite of the Abad family. But I know what this kind of families are, you know, the ambience, the noise, the crosses conversations, the things. So I wanted to recreate that and making this family alive, you know, like a family that you can believe, that you can love, that you would like to belong to, you know? So that was one of the important things for me making that movie. And one of the nicest things when I showed it to the real family was when the mother, Cecilia, who was already 95 or 6, told me that that was my house. That was the lunches at home, no, with my daughters and my son, no? And so for me that was very touching that she told me that.
And lastly, could you speak on the importance of seeing this film in a theater, especially now?
Well, for me, it's very important watching films in theaters, no? Especially the first time. Then it's usual for me to revise film at home, screen them. I have a screen at home, so I can project. I don't like to see the movies in a small screen. I never do it. No? I prefer to read a book. So especially when I see a film for the first time, it should be in a theater. So I'm so happy that the movie are playing in the quad theaters, in the landmark theaters, because it's how movies should be seen. No? And I'm happy to see here people are coming back to the theaters, and that's a very nice thing. I think theaters are not going to die. No, the pandemic, anything can end with them. And I know there are people who doesn't go to the cinema. Many young people doesn't go to theaters, but that is only by ignorance. They don't know how great the experience is. When they will discover it one day or another with the right movie, they will come back and come back and come back, because nothing compares to that.
I agree. Okay.